Hi, welcome. Today I'm here with Yanan Li, a PhD fellow at Copenhagen Business School. Today we are going to talk about her ongoing project about how power asymmetry moderates careers green transition. So, Yanan, why is the maritime industry's green transition so challenging, and why is it important to consider customer-driven demand signals?
Uh, I think in 2023, I read a report from Musk Magazine Moller Center that mentioned 2 points why it's kind of so slow in maritime industry to decarbonize. The first one is the industry lacks strong customer signal. For example, it's different from like air transportation industry or like normal vehicles. Now we already have lots of green vehicles, electricity vehicles, because we face strong customer side signal as us. As customers, we are very willing to pay for the electricity vehicles. But for the shipping industry, it's a B2B business. And for those customers or those cargo owners, if they don't face strong pressure to decarbonize or to show that they are very green, they will not push this pressure to the shipping companies. So this is the one reason. And another reason is in terms of the alternative fuel adoptions. Shipping, especially container shipping, is a very monopoly industry. We only have almost like 10 large shipping companies accounts for almost 80% market share. And these large shipping companies, they also face competitions from each other. So everyone had their own idea. For example, Maersk may prefer LNG and ammonia, and CMA CGM prefers LNG and hydrogen. All of them, they have different ideas or different perspectives on which alternative fuel should we use. And this alternative fuel is very important to help the shipping industry to become greener. Until now, we still don't get a conclusion that which one will be the final one we will use for the whole industry. But on the other hand, the investments on this kind of alternative fuel is a large amount of money. It needs the whole industry to investment, but not invest in one specific type of uh, alternative fuel, because you need to also consider the port infrastructures for ship bunkerings, and also those alternative fuel suppliers. It's not only the problem of the shipping companies, but we unfortunately we still not get a conclusion until now.
What are the different types of power and that shippers can hold over carriers, and how do they influence carrier decisions?
For different type of power, here I will mainly talk about two types of power. One is reward power, and another one is coercive power. For reward power, based on its definitions, it's more like the shippers are willing to prefer some more benefits to the carriers, so that the carriers can follow some strategies of the shippers. For example, the shippers can tell the carrier that I would like to give you a longer contract if you can provide me greener transportation solutions, or I can give you a bit premium price to help you to invest in new technologies or alternative fuel adoptions. And vice versa for coercive power, it's more like a punishment. Although the contracts may already signed, but still there's some cases or some flexibilities that the carriers can threaten the shippers can threaten the carrier to say that if you don't continuously follow my way or the contract terms we agreed, I will change to another carrier, or I will stop our contracts, something like this.
Why is power asymmetry between shippers and carriers important to understand in the context of environmental strategies?
I think power asymmetry is not only important in terms of environmental strategies, but also different types of strategies. But until now, in the shipping industry, we don't, first of all, we don't focus on these relationships between the carriers and shippers a lot. And furthermore, we don't introduce this power asymmetry, this concept into our industry. Actually, especially between those large shippers and large carriers, they will negotiate a lot to make a decision whether they will have long-term cooperation, collaboration relationship with each other. In this negotiation or bargaining process, there exists a power asymmetry. For example, if the shipper is a very large shipper, they may have more power to push the carrier to provide more benefits to them, which also includes these environmental strategies. But if the shipper is a very small shipper, or they even need to use freight forwarder to contact the carrier, then carrier may not care about such a small business. Even lose one TU, one container, they don't care about so much.
How did you measure or analyze shipper power and green commitment in your research?
This measurement not put forward by me. It's put forward by previous scholars. There are already some research. They use these measurements to measure both the rewards and coercive power. They use a term called customer concentration to measure the power asymmetry or rewards and coercive power between two parties. But before, it's mainly used within the general supply chain management within buyer and supplier. Here, I introduce this idea, and I will use the similar idea, but use the data from the shipping industry. I will use how from one carrier to from one shipper to one carrier, how many TUs they have transactions within a certain period divided by the TU capacity or TU volumes of this specific carrier within that period, so that we can see if it's a very large shipper, this the TU volume between these two parties will be take a large portion of the whole TU volume. That means they play an important role to in terms of for shipping companies to make decisions.
What data or methods did you use to study the impact of these factors on carriers' investment in alternative fuels?
Luckily, I got some data from one of my co-author, and we are now trying to use bill of lading data. It's also kind of the importing and exporting data of US customer. And from that data sets, we can have the records, each transaction records from the shipper to the carrier. We can see from one shipper to one carrier how many TUs they ordered, and for almost each TU, what's the cargo inside at which time they ordered and under which vessel. Now we have the data from 2020 to 2024, almost 5 years data. It's not very long, I understand. And then next step, I also need to, because I'm looking at the decarbonization problem, I also need to, this only helps me to link the dyadic pairs between the carrier and the shipper. But I also need the grain performance or grain willingness data of both sides. From the shipper side, I use MSCI ESG monthly data to evaluate their willingness to become green. And from the carrier side, for shipping companies, we will use their vessel performance data, their vessel emission data, and to aggregate to the firm level.
How can cargo owners strategically use their influence to encourage carriers to adopt greener practices?
For cargo owners, because they face these government pressures from the EU or from the uh, international level, especially for those publicly listed companies, they need to report their ESG performance, including their carbon emission performance.
Mhm.
Now we also have another term called Scope 3 emissions. And the Scope 3 emissions refers to those emissions not directly related to those manufacturing companies, their production procedures, but it's more referred to the whole supply chain, also including these shipping transportation procedures.
Mhm.
And because they need to report these Scope 3 emission, and they would like to show the government and also the public that they perform quite well in green performance. So they will push the relevant stakeholders, the whole supply chain, within the whole supply chain to decarbonize themselves, also including shipping industries to provide greener transportation solutions and to invest in decarbonized technologies or alternative fuels. So I believe this may be a path how the shippers or customers can push shipping companies to become greener.
It is often assumed that shippers are willing to pay extra for green transportation. But is that really the case? And if so, how does the willingness differ between different segments of shipping?
First of all, I'm not sure whether that's really true or not. That's need to base down the findings of my current research. But I also have a big concern. Let's see, because we try to talk with the responsible staff of decarbonization departments of Maersk, and in Maersk they have one solution. It's similar to us when we take airplane transportation. We will have one option whether you need to pay a bit more. That you can enjoy decarbonized travel procedures. They have a similar solutions to their customers, but based on their feedback, not lots of customers are willing to pay a bit more. But still, we also have talked with the customer side, with those manufacturing side, and we can see that they really face a large pressure, and they would like to help and pay a little bit more to help the shipping industry to become greener. So we believe that for those large shippers, they may have a stronger willingness to pay a bit more, but for small shippers, they may not. And in terms of different shipping segments, because they have different operation modes, for container shipping, due to the appearance of these online booking systems and door-to-door logistics services, the distance between the customer and shipper becomes shorter and shorter. They can directly talk with the customers can directly talk with the shipping companies, so they can put forward all their ideas when they negotiate on the contract. But in other segments, for example, tankers or dry bulkers, they may often have a longer term contracts, and normally they need one broker in between to help these two parties to negotiate with each other. And the introduce of this broker will help to eliminate this effect based on the supply chain distance theory.
Could the concept of power and green commitment you studied also apply to other parts of the supply chain beyond shipping?
For sure. This idea, it's you can see I borrowed the idea of the buyer supplier relationships. I borrowed the idea of power asymmetry. It's not only used in shipping, it can also be used in other industries or the whole supply chain. And also in my study, for now, the current research, I'm only looking at these relationships between two parties. But I also want to extend it further. One side is to the shipping company side, especially now under this very uncertain global trade environments. I would like to see how the war or the tariffs will impact these effects between two parties. And on the other side, I also would like to go up tiers to see for those manufacturing companies what they are really looking at when they make decisions. How could they balance the trade-off between the interests and their investments or willingness to pay a bit premium to help their suppliers to become greener.
What challenges did you face while working on this project?
That's a lot. First of all, since it's not like the direct pressures from the government level or from the technology side, this effect between the carriers and shippers is not so obvious. It's more like an indirect or implicit relationship or effect. So during the process, actually, there are many times I'm hesitate. I'm thinking whether this is the right direction because it's not so obvious. But after talking with some industry stakeholders, we make sure that, yeah, it is the right direction. They really need some research on this side, or they need some findings from the customer side to help the industry to involve the customers to have corporate solutions for the whole industry. And another one is about the data. In the shipping industry, I think this is not the problem I face. For lots of scholars in maritime industry, we all face these kind of problems because it's not so advanced like other industries. It's very natural, not well known by lots of people. And also those companies, they face competitions between each other. For example, the shipping companies, they face competitions with each other, but also at the same time, maybe the shipping companies, they also have some port business, so they also face the competitions with other port operators. So that makes the whole relationship between different stakeholders more messy. And it's not easy to get the data. Even now we have some data, but still that's not enough, I would say. That's just a part of the data. We hope that the whole industry can try to become more willing to share their data, so that's from both maybe research side and also from the industry side, we can put forward better solutions to the whole industry.
What are actually the plans for the future building on these findings and on this project?
I think I already mentioned a bit. For now, I only look at the relationships between the carriers and shippers, how that will impact make a role. But next step, I will also involve the market conditions from the shipping company side. Especially now, I think we all heard some kind of ideas that with the tariffs and wars, everything, this uncertain global trades environment, people's focus on sustainability or decarbonization seems not so much compared to before. We also try to figure out whether that's really because of this kind of market environment, or it's because the inherent driver is not so strong. And on the other side, from the shipper side, from the whole supply chain perspective, I also would like to look at how those carriers, those shippers or those cargo owners, they make decisions when they how they make strategic decisions, especially how they balance the trade-off between their profits, their interests, and they may need to pay a big cost, pay a bit more to help their suppliers to provide greener solutions.
So, how do you hope your work will influence the maritime industry's approach to sustainability?
Yeah, since that's my research focus, and I would say please have a look at their clients, their customer side to see what's they are looking for at this stage. And another one is my own kind of interest. I really hope no matter which kind of problems we face, either it's climate change or it's tariff or whatever, let's make the whole industry, the whole ecosystem, all stakeholders together to put some efforts to provide solutions.
That's a good motto. Thank you so much for your participation.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.